Welcome to the International Collective of Female Cinematographers podcast, where every week we'll be talking to a different cinematographer and listening to their stories as they navigate the filmmaking world, sharing secrets and experiences to empower our community. The ICFC is a collective of professional female cinematographers from around the world who provide each other with community support and industry advocacy. We are your hosts, Amelia and Akina.
Today, we are so excited to welcome Quyen Tran. We will be discussing keeping career momentum as a cinematographer, work-life balance, motherhood, baking bread, and working on high-profile TV shows. This is part 2 of our interview with Quyen. For some context, this interview was recorded before the start of the WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes.
Yeah. So what were we talking about?
Representation.
We have representation. Yes. Mm-hmm. Represent. Very important to me.
Switching gears a little bit. I know you've done a lot of things in your career, but is there anything, like if you could shoot anything in the world, anything, what would it be and why?
I could shoot anything?
Anything.
Oh man. It's such a, big features are always so exciting, and I watched all the films this year. I was really inspired by all the films. That was a really good year. Mm-hmm. Like Bardo, I was like, what the heck is this movie? So insane. It's like Darius Kanji at his best, and it's just incredible. So cinematic and beautiful and so compelling, and it just, the emotions sneak up on you and you don't realize what's happening. And it's like, oh my, it's like, that is so powerful. And that's the art of storytelling. And I just love being a part of anything that makes you feel that way, mm-hmm. and then transports you to a different space and allows you to be vulnerable and accessible and create these emotions that like you don't, really on a day-to-day basis explore. And that's really special. And that's the magic of cinema. So I think, I just love, and I am so grateful for being a part of projects that allow that, or where the audience is then like, oh my God, I watched this and it really captured that emotion way that was so not only like powerful emotionally, but visually breathtaking and like, that's like, I love that. I love when people get to feel what I intended. Mm-hmm. And so I'd love to be part. And so it's not really like one project. Oh, I'd love to shoot like, Blade Runner, mm-hmm. It's not, mm-hmm. That's already been done. But that feeling of scope and cinema and emotional storytelling, that's what it is really. It's not so much a tangible thing, but like a feeling that I aim for as a storyteller.
Cool.
Not an answer.
No, it's a good answer.
But yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten a lot of different answers to that question, so they're all really good. Different. Besides baking, or if it is baking, what do you do on your time off? And like any hobbies, anything you like to do?
What's time off?
I
have zero time off. When you have a family, don't let this deter you from starting a family. There's no time off because so you have to think about the kids' schedules constantly. Like this weekend, my husband is out of town. And so I have 2 kids, art class, baseball game, tennis lesson, horseback riding lesson, rock climbing team, band practice. So where do I have time for me? Mm-hmm. At like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. when I'm sleeping or trying to catch up on my work. So there's no time off, but that's okay. Like I try to read. I'm reading this incredible novel called The Trees right now. I think Percival Everett is the author, and this book is like, wow. It's just so it makes you see things in a different perspective. And I love that. I love like being, I don't want to say forced, but like presented with a new way of looking at something mm-hmm. from a different lens. And it's like, oh my God, it's like mind blowing. I love that. So that book is really inspiring right now. I just read this other book called Flux, which was like incredible. I don't know if you've heard of it. I'm like, this has got to be a show or a movie. I was actually reading it because I was told to read it. Anyway, but it's definitely be something. Okay. In like 2 years, just watch Flux. It's going to be all the rage. Hot tip. So, try to read and baking, of course. I almost an avid gardener. I have peas growing in my garden right now, and sorrel and parsley and arugula and lettuces. So I'm really into gardening. I've been doing that for a very long time, growing my own vegetables. I think that's a lot already because I don't have time to begin with. Yeah. So mostly like cooking, baking, gardening, or knitting. I love knitting. Cool. I just finished another sweater for my kid, and I was actually going to wear another one today, but I was like, it's too hot because I've been moving around. Oven was on, and I was baking and moving around.
So here's my question: How do you have the energy to do all that? Because even without kids, I feel like you already have a lot of things. That
does that sound like a lot? I don't know.
Yeah, you have time to read your gardening, your baking.
Yeah, that's true. But I can like knit, like I could be knitting right now, actually. I thought that might be rude though. So like if I'm on the phone or something and I'm doing laundry or, like I try to multitask. Yeah. So reading, I'll do like when I'm traveling, like on the airplane or something. I'm very productive on airplanes. So like read or catch up on a movie that I have to watch or something. Gardening, you can do that for like 20 minutes a day. Like I just was doing some weeding in the garden while I was waiting for my bread to cool. So
very efficient with time. We must be too.
I'm very efficient, but I attribute that to being on set. Right. You're a multitasker. You have to balance all these things and juggle all these people, all these ideas, and make sure you get back and I hate doing this, but I have a tendency to be like 1 second. Or I'll do this like 1 second. If three people are like, hey, Q, we have okay, 1 second, let me just finish this. Okay, got it. Okay, yes. Go. But like you just have to, I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people don't think about DPs. People who are not DPs, they don't realize like how much of this job is like multitasking and thinking about other things and trying to, people skills, like managing other, expectations, like so much of that is important, right? Managing egos. Yes. Like managing personalities. It's like being not hurting feelings, babysitting. I mean, therapy. I find like people are like, oh, what was your training? I was like, well, I think the best training is doing a lot, like just managing schedules, whether it's in your personal life or not, but just that is the greatest skill set to have as a cinematographer, because the higher up you go, the more it's managing. Because the technical should be an assumption. You should know how to do that already. That's a given, I say. So it's everything else that's hard. And that's where a lot of people ask me like, well, I had this, I was having trouble with this, navigating this with this whatever AD with this producer, how do you do that? And I'm like, I'm guilty of that too. It doesn't always click, but focus on the story and focus on the show and try to, make sure that you get your job done first and foremost. But it's hard. It's hard, and you have to multitask and learn how to do many things at once and make sure everyone feels like they're being taken care of.
Too, right? Like there's when I was like, I know so many like DPs who are like just angry gruff men, Cleaning up as an EC. It was like, that's like very common too,
Yeah. Hopefully that's kind of like fading in post Me Too. But yeah, they still exist. They're still out there.
Need to hire a cinematographer? Well, look no further than the ICFC's member online database. We boast over 300 highly qualified cinematographers for all your filmmaking needs. Visit our site now and find your next superstar collaborator at icfcfilm.com. I have a baking question.
Yes.
Hot baking tip. Which should we know?
Well, what are you trying to bake?
I usually bake gluten-free stuff, so it's a different thing. But just any good baking tip for making a solid, good sourdough. Like one thing we should do.
Well, I was going to give a non-sourdough related thing. So understanding what gluten is and knowing when to develop it and when not to. When you're what's called a quick bread. And so like that would be like pancakes, muffins, banana bread, biscuits. Those are like considered quick breads. You don't want to overmix because you do not want to develop the gluten. You want to just make sure that everything just gets wet and that's it. Okay, so that you make sure you don't develop gluten for quick breads. It's called like a light biscuit hand because you're not mixing. Okay, and then I have a funny story with Jon Favreau about that, but okay, yeah, I'll get back to that later. And then for sourdough, you want to develop the gluten because you want to have the structure so that your bread rises without collapsing. So you want to make sure your gluten is properly formed. And that is from doing your coil folds and building string. And there's a whole other thing called like sensibility. And but you know, it just to understand, you have to have like a somewhat higher protein content for sourdough, as you have to have that structure. You want to build that gluten network. And you want to make sure that your sourdough starter is very strong and that you use the starter at its peak when it starts to smell sweet. Some people have like an early, like the tartine method. He likes to go a little young on the leaven, but I like it when it's a little more mature. So it just depends, different schools of thought. But ultimately, you want to be able to develop all that gluten structure in your bread so that it doesn't collapse on you and you have this big, nice spring. I could talk about sourdough for like hours and hours.
No, that's great. My parents bake on the side. My mother bakes on the side. He does gluten stuff, and my parents do gluten free. So I live in that world a lot. So.
Me too. My girlfriend just got into baking, so she is baking a lot of bread, and so
bread.
She's making sourdough. She's making brioche. She's making milk breads. She's dabbling into baguettes.
Yeah.
Ooh, baguettes are hard.
Yeah.
Baguettes are great. It's so nice. It's nothing like a fresh baguette.
Yeah. Also, like once you start eating, I mean, I could go on this tangent forever about, the food quality in this country or, what's in our food, processed foods, but we won't go there.
Well, no.
You eat fresh bread, it's really hard to go back, right? To be like, I'm not going to eat the store-bought bread.
Well, that's why I started I started baking my own gluten-free bread because like the stuff you get at the store is just not great. With gluten-free stuff, it just goes bad so fast too. So I'm just like, I'll just make it. It's just easier.
Use buckwheat?
Use a mix of stuff actually, depending on the recipe. I just made some bagels that were it's a mix of millet, brown rice flour, and tapioca starch. It came out pretty well.
Do you ever add sorghum or anything?
Yeah, sorghum for different ones. It depends really on the recipe. My mom developed a gluten-free sourdough starter. She gave me one, and then I promptly killed it. Oh. So, but
you make another one. I mean, it's just 6 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Babysit it.
Yeah. I'm bad at that.
Oh yeah. No, I have like a journal that I had. I don't use it anymore because I'm more versed in it. But I was like an insane person. It looks like it's like a serial killer like journal, like all these scribblings and drawings, or like it's like crazy.
Yeah.
I have so many thousands of photos on my phone, but it's good to have passions to balance out the insane work that we do in this industry and to stay level-headed and clear your mind and make sure, you have perspective. I think that's really important to, if you're only doing film, you're kind of in a bubble, you have to see what's out there.
Yeah.
And listen to people's stories and travel the world. And, I always try to encourage people to do that too. Like if they can, like I traveled the world, like super poor, I would stay in, my husband and I, when we were in college and for like 13 years after college, we would travel to a different country for a month every year and live there. Yeah. So that's a great way to explore the world. And I really think it's helped me as a filmmaker, kind of knowing what I've seen and witnessed and experienced over the years, being open to different stories and being able to have a say at it and be respectful of those cultures and those peoples and people's situations. That's so important. it's troubling. And I'm trying to get my kids to, I really want to go to live in a different country for a year. It'd be a little difficult, but because like with my husband's work too, like he can't really be away from California too long. He performs every week. But I don't know. It's always been a dream, and I'm like, no better time to do it than now. While the kids are still, they like us.
Yeah. Also, when they're young, they can learn languages so fast. It's like
exactly.
Yeah.
I wish it's just hard because my husband doesn't speak Vietnamese, and my kids are now like, I want to learn Vietnamese. I'm like, oh my God, it's just hard to like only speak Vietnamese to them. It's like, I'm like, oh, I wish I could be committed to that more.
My mom put me in a public school in China when I was a kid. She just threw me in there. Didn't speak a word of Mandarin, and within I think a couple of weeks, like 6 weeks, like you had to talk, right? Like you had made yourself talk. So now I speak fluent Mandarin.
That's incredible.
My parents, when we were in Kansas, we spoke Spanish at home, and then when we moved to Ecuador, we only spoke English at home. So, and then like we would speak the other language when we were outside the house. So my brother and I grew up fully bilingual that way.
That's amazing. No, I'm so bad. I went back to see my parents, and I only speak Vietnamese to them, and my kids are like, "What are you saying?" I'm like, "Oh God, so sad. I'm the worst mom." And I'm like, "Oh no," it is so that like they pick up a little bit, and I'm like, "Oh man, maybe I'm thinking about like maybe putting them in Vietnamese like language classes or something," but it's just hard.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard as an adult to learn a language,
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When I went to undergrad and I started learning Mandarin, that was hard. That was really hard. I was like, what did I do to myself?
Yeah. My dad's from Belgium, and Flemish is technically my first language, but because my mom cared more that I spoke Mandarin, that kind of got neglected, right? And so when I was in like high school and college, I learned German, and so now my dad says that my Flemish sounds like an angry German. And it's like I try, but like it just sounds so guttural and hard and angry.
Yeah. I studied German too. I studied German and Latin and Italian.
Wow.
I wanted to be a CIA operative.
Nice.
But
they didn't come knocking.
No, I don't know. I was like, maybe that's crazy.
So if life had turned out differently and you had made slightly different choices and you weren't a DP, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
I'd be a chef.
Nah.
Nice.
Yeah. I actually got into culinary school at the same time, and I decided to go to school. But I was like, oh, I can always go back to culinary school if this whole film thing doesn't work out. So it was like a safety. So, but it's good that way because now I really enjoy cooking and baking, and I didn't make a profession out of it. And it's funny because like a lot of people will ask like, oh, what cameras do you shoot on? I'm like, I shoot my iPhone. It's so sad. Magic. I'm like, but like I have all these cameras like in storage, and I worked in the darkroom every week. I'd go, and when I lived in New York, I would develop everything, process my own film, everything. I think that's a really good skill to have.
Yeah.
Like knowing like darkroom skills, because then you really understand the image and you understand how it works, and all the silver halide crystals, and it's magical. It's chemical. It's science. It's science and art. Like our careers. So that was like my passion before I moved to California. It was like, being in the darkroom and stuff, but I don't do that anymore. I've moved on. No time. Also, the chemicals are really bad for you.
Yeah. They're really hard to dispose of too.
Yeah.
I used to develop film in my Brooklyn apartment, and now that I live in LA, it's actually funny. My house in the garage, we actually have a dark room, but there's no running water. So it's just storage. There's like a bunch of old C-stands in there because I don't use it anymore. But
it's so sad, right?
I know.
It's sad.
It's important.
Cine is a woman and Latina-owned boutique camera rental house based in Los Angeles. They are passionate about the nuanced design that goes into visual storytelling, and as such, are committed to supporting filmmakers tell their stories with the best tools available. Plus, for busy cinematographer or camera crew parents, they also offer childcare services during prep. So when you're looking for camera rentals for your next project, check out their extensive repertoire of optics and cameras at www.bcine.com or write to rentals@bcine.com for general inquiries. Okay, so we have one last question for you, and it's a three-parter.
Oh, goodness.
So what is your favorite movie? What is your comfort movie? And what's the movie that has influenced your cinematography the most or influenced you as a cinematographer the most?
Oh, my gosh. I should have answers to these questions. My favorite movie. Soy Cuba? Big influence on me. I loved that film. I haven't seen it in a very long time. There's two films, that one and oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the Terrence Malick film? What is that Terrence Malick film about? Like the Old Testament, like the plague and everything. Oh my God.
Badlands, Days of Heaven,
Days of Heaven. Okay. All right. Two favorite films, Soy Cuba and Days of Heaven. I think because so much of it can be understood without dialogue, both those films. And I was like, oh, I love these films so much for some reason. I don't know why. And this was before I really got into filmmaking and understood what a cinematographer did. But I just remember like emotionally, like how those images made me feel and the energy movement of Soy Cuba versus like the very curated shots of Days of Heaven and the subjects. So I would say those two. And then what was the second question? Favorite film,
comfort film, like the film you'll watch when you're like sick and just like need to feel comforted and feel better. Just something that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, I guess.
I don't know if I have books like that, but films, I don't. I guess it's because like these days I watch films with my kids or I watch films for work. I don't really have a comfort film that I go back to again and again and again.
Well, what's the book you feel is your comfort book?
Oh my God. So many books. Oh, okay. So the books, I like reading fantasy and sci-fi. And like I read a lot of Anne McCaffrey and Ursula Le Guin and Isaac Asimov and stuff. So when I go back to those books, I like to reread them and just be reminded. It kind of transports me back to like my early teenage years when I was like, a bookworm and reading all these novels and getting ideas, getting inspired, just helping my imagination and stuff. I have very vivid, active imagination. But that's like, it's so comforting to read those books, I think, because I'm so deep into film, getting away from that for comfort, going back to novels. Another book, a specific book is like The Name of the Wind by Patrick. Yeah. I love that book so much. It's so beautiful. I cry. It's so poetic and so just so powerful and emotive. Like those, I would say books are more of an escape for me than film because I do film so much. Because finding that different medium, is important, I think, to just get that perspective.
And the movie that's influenced you as a cinematographer the most, or your cinematography the most?
So many films, so many beautiful films. But I think I would go back to a lot of Roger Deakins' work, for storytelling. Shawshank Redemption is like, such a powerful film visually, so many iconic moments in it, storytelling and I don't want to say anything about the simplicity because it's not simple. Because he's a master, he makes it appear simple, but that classical storytelling, it'll stay true for years and you go back and it won't feel dated. And I think for me, that's what draws me in as an audience member is classical storytelling, because it's never going to be outdated. It's never going to feel gimmicky. It's going to stay true because it is the best way to tell that story. And I think I derive my storytelling from his philosophy and many others, and that the image should really move the story forward and not detract from anything else. And so that philosophy I've been following for, my career, because that's what feels true to me. And I think some of it has to do with having been trained as a photojournalist and finding the reality and the truth in the image, in the moment, as opposed to like creating a beautiful picture just for the sake of it being beautiful.
Well, anything else you'd like to add that we didn't talk about? Just final.
I love talking about baking and stuff, but I'd say overall, what's really important to me is being able to be accessible to all different genders, all different people of color and not, and everyone. Like, I just want to, it's really hard to do what we do, and it's even harder in some ways. And for people who look more like us or not, it's such a hard job to begin with. And so then to have other obstacles that make it harder, I just want to tell everyone out there, like, you can do it. It's just, you have to stick to it and just stay true to your art form and don't sacrifice your artistic integrity or your human integrity in order to get to where you want to be, because, you have time and, just love what you do.
Awesome. Well said.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yes. And one last thing, where can we find you on the internet? Like social media, website,
yes,
Alyssa?
My website's on there. I'm actually shutting it down right now. I haven't touched it in 4 years. So I'm like so embarrassed. So don't go on my website. But I'm on social media. It's a very strange handle. I came up with it like so many years ago, but it's QGAR, Cougar, like cougar. But and don't ask. So I don't really post that much on social media. After the pandemic, I just decided I didn't need to be on it as much. I post stories, and I tried to use my platform to spread the news on other filmmakers. Like last night, a wonderful Vietnamese writer whose film I got to as last night, A Tourist Guide to Love. I posted a story on that. I just try to amplify stories and maybe sometimes occasionally showcase some of my own work. But I really, it's going back to the imposter syndrome. I'm like, I don't want to really, I feel like I'm bragging if I'm, here, check this out. I just feel awkward about doing that kind of stuff. Like, oh, look at, like, I admire a lot of DPs who are like, here's my lighting diagram and here's some still frames. Like, oh my God, it's so much work to like, first of all, to do that, but also it's great because like I'm always curious, like, oh, how do they do that? But like, they do that like every day. I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I'm just like, here's the shot of my family. Here's my bread. Here are my new sprouts. I'm like, look, my arugula is coming up nicely. I'm like, who wants to see that? I don't know. Whatever. It's it's fun. I like it.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on. We really, really appreciate it. This was amazing.
Thank you so much. It was nice to talk to you both, Emmy and Kina, and I really wish you the best.
Thank you so much. Oh, she's so inspirational.
My God. Love her. I was internally fangirling a lot.
Oh, me too. I was trying really hard not to fangirl too. I mean, I think I said some things that were definitely like gushy, maybe, but it's just awesome to see, someone who is so successful, but also so incredibly giving and down to earth.
Yeah.
And just such a real person, I'm just like very humble and like refreshing to talk to. I'm not that, anyone we've talked to wasn't, but it's just, she's just a real person and like does this incredible body of work, Yeah, I didn't talk about the ASC with her, but
yeah, we forgot. Well, it's just like I don't know. I think one of the nice things is like, I felt like I was almost, I mean, not that anyone we have talked to hasn't felt like friendly or anything, but it was like, the minute we started talking about bread and baking and like all these other things, I'm like, oh yeah, it's nice to be able to talk about these things with other people in the industry too. And not just talk about, as she said, having a life outside of the career we have. So that was great. I think I could have talked about bread with her way too long as well. So,
but I just also, it's, like love, she has so much energy, it's like, so to be so multifaceted. I think that's really so important, especially as DPs, to have this kind of zest for life, but also this, experience of other things that are not, I know a lot of people who are just film. Like, you're kind of losing something, there's a world out there that doesn't involve cinematography or filmmaking, like there's the real world we live in. Like sometimes, like, like you ever been to like a concert and like you're recording something and then you're actually watching this, like whether it's working or shooting the event, right? But sometimes like you're just living through the experience of the camera, right? Like sometimes I think like if not if I'm working the event, but like if I'm just there, like put your phone away and sit there and watch something, Yeah. And then that's been happening a lot lately to me. And then I actually realized that I forgot to take any pictures of some cool event, but at least I lived it. So it's in my memory.
Yeah, and I think also just her talking about the whole, her approach to momentum in our careers. And I think one of the biggest takeaways I got from her was like when she was like, when I had my kid, I just started, I knew that was going to stop or slow down some of the momentum I had in my career, but I made that choice very willingly, and like, I don't regret it. And like, it was the right choice to make. And I think there's a lot of us who, when we look at our momentum and we have some momentum going, and then we have to make a choice like that, sometimes there's this fear of like, making that choice
again, right?
Yeah.
Lack of confidence. Like, there's something about her that's like, you know what? Like, it's okay. I'm gonna find my way out. I'm gonna bounce back. It's not a big deal, And I think what you said is right. It's like you have the talent and you have the skill set. Like it's just a matter of time, and not being afraid to be like, oh, like my career's never coming back from this. My career's because there's a confidence in that skill set. She knows what she's doing. She knows what she wants to see. She knows what she wants to work on. She knows what she is going to make. And that is so important. Like if you have that, what are you afraid of? Exactly.
Just being confident in yourself and being confident that you got yourself. Like if something happens, like you will pick yourself up and keep going, I think that's...
Well, I think, it's like, it's to hear her talk about imposter syndrome. It's like everybody has imposter syndrome then, right?
Yes.
Like, if you're at that level and you still feel like, I think a lot of people will resonate with what you said about like, oh, when, and we've talked about this in other episodes. It's like, when do you call yourself a director of photography? And when you see your name on the title credit of a big movie on a screen, like sure. But like before then too, right? Like short films, like you're doing the work, you have the skill set,
Yeah. And I think the imposter syndrome, it can be hard because sometimes like when we're at, I don't know, at least where I'm at, sometimes I have to pay my bills with other skills. Like I'll graphic design on the side. I'll like, work gaffer, crew, whatever. Right. I've done translations, anything just to stay in the game. Right. And like, it was hard sometimes for me to be able to say like, hey, I am a DP, but I'm also like, I'm actually paying the bills with a multitude of things. So am I really a DP? But like having that to be able to say, no, I am a DP. I just pay the bills this way for now, but I am a DP. I think that's really hard to come to terms for, or it has been for me at least, So I think, just confidently saying I am a director of photography. This is what I do. And this is who I am is hard.
It's really hard. It's really hard. And also, it's not looking good, it's not going to get any easier in the next couple of years. Like it's, there's so much restructuring happening and
yeah,
so many things, and I just, I think especially as women who want to create families, or who are getting to a certain age, there's this like pressure. There's so much pressure about like, like if you're going to have a family, have it now. If you don't, like what she's saying, like biology, it's absolutely,
yes.
You get to a certain point and you're like, okay, you better do it now or you're not. And if your career is not there, then you got to make that choice. Right.
Yeah. I mean, this is incredibly personal, but I'm putting it out there because I don't think it gets talked about. Like, I'm thinking about freezing my eggs at the end of this year because, like, I might want to start a family and like putting things into like, but even making that decision is like such a choice and with balancing the career and like what that involves. So it's I think. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's another burden, it's a burden that women have to do. And like, this is funny. Like, like I'm like a queer person in a long relationship, but like we make that choice, and this is not to negate people my straight friends who have families, but sometimes it just happens, right? And then they have children.
Yes.
Like that's not going to happen to me. And so if I want that to happen, we have to actively say, okay, now on paper, we're going to do this. We're going to have a plan. We're going to have money. We're going to do this. Yep. And like, that is so much more work to like, family. And it's like, I do like some part of me is like, well, maybe, like if I was straight, it would just accidentally happen. And then I'd be like, oh, like the time is right now, I guess it's gonna happen,
But I think what she said too, and like this is just something I hear from a lot of my friends too, that they're like, there's the one side of my friends who are like, oh, I'm not ready to have kids because my finances are not where they should be. My life is not where, my career is not where it should be. And the rest is like, there's never a good time to have kids. Right. You'll make it happen kind of thing. And I think her echoing that was really great to hear with our line of work, being like, if you just got to do it, you'll make it work. You will figure it out, but also involves the active choice of you are going to make it happen. You are going to make it work. And you have to have confidence that, again, that momentum that you'll lose, because you will lose in momentum, you'll get it back. You'll get back on track and not regret it, I guess.
Yeah. Manifest that.
Manifesting
Manifest it. That. Anyone who has any doubt that's listening, manifest it. Okay.
Manifest. Yes. And, but yeah, I need more making tips from her. I think I'm going to hit her up for baking tips for sure.
Thank you so much for listening today. Please follow us on Instagram at the ICFC. You can also reach us by writing to icfcpodcast@gmail.com.
This episode was produced by Emilia Mendieta Cordova, Fabian Hausepian, Akina Van de Velde, Senda Bonet, and Barbie Lung.